Good old Nickelodeon, a network with so many original characters such as Danny Phantom, SpongeBob, Arnold, Jenna, and the list goes on, and giving you nice and easy on the eyes characters for the past 3 decades. However, Nickelodeon has also not shied away from making some of the most grotesque, disgusting, and just downright ugly characters I have ever seen. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Here's my list for the top 5 ugliest Nicktoons. At number 5, Nigel Thornberry. If you take the hair of Chaz Finster, the nose of Miss Fowl, and the head shape of Sheen, you'll probably end up with Nigel. But even despite his awkward facial features, he does this one thing that automatically makes him 10 times more ugly in just a matter of seconds.
I'll do this with my hands.
Like seriously, what was that? However, Nigel does have a wife who's actually not bad looking, and I don't know how, but he did help in producing Debbie Thornberry, who's also easy on the eyes as well. Sorry, Eliza. I mean, you can talk to animals, that's cool. And Nigel does have his own nature show as well, where he is always in front of the camera. And if he has people watching him on the regular, then he must not be too unpleasing to the eye. At number 4, we have Squidward Tentacles. Everyone's favorite miserable light blue octopus is definitely one of the ugliest around, whether it's showing him going crazy, close-up imagery on his stern face, close-up on his appearance out of water, and this SpongeBob fighting game on the old Nick site that no one seems to remember for some reason. So yeah, this creature has shown lots of imagery I will never forget. Nonetheless, I don't think he's the ugliest character Nick has had, and many people like to say that he is. I have 2 reasons to back me up. Unlike the other entries coming up, Squidward actually did go on a date, and did become handsome for a day, even if both situations were just for 1 episode. So, good for you, Squiddy. You have a nice spot at number 4. Or behind the cash register. Coming at number 3, every monster from All Real Monsters. Now, this wasn't a show that I watched a lot growing up, maybe because I was already watching Monsters Inc. at the time, and as far as I know, the show's premise is pretty similar. But, in the times I did watch it, man, were those monsters revolting to watch. This entry, I'm not going to go too much into, just because at the end of the day, they are actually monsters, so it would just be a waste of time describing all of them and their physical appearances. But even with that being said, I feel like they're not overbearingly ugly, and they still have a kiddish kind of friendly vibe to them that makes them a little bit more appealing to the eye. And the next 2 entries on the list is where it starts to get a little hard. Now, coming at number 2 is Mr. Carney. Now, technically, Mr. Carney, along with the other characters in Mr. Meaty, they're all puppets, and I guess you technically can't say they're cartoon, but I'm gonna just say it because they were on Nickelodeon. Kids watch them. I'm gonna call it a cartoon. This guy is the epitome of ugliness. Just the way he looks is just so grotesque. His eyes bulging out of his head, and it's just yellow, like, oh gosh, and it's just his skin and his texture. Whoever made this guy, I gotta give you props, because you definitely made an ugly one. I mean, this guy is just haunting and hideous to look at, and despite how bad he looks, even his personality is ugly. From reading his character description, in a way he kind of reminds me of Mr. Krabs. He is really greedy, forces employees to do crazy things and tortures them. Let alone, he tries to make his customers eat at his restaurant 5 times a day. That's pretty bad. I don't even know if Mr. Krabs does that. But there we go, Mr. Carney. Now time for our honorable mentions. Miss Fowl. Now, Miss Fowl is definitely not the best looking woman in the world, but at the same time, she is sort of old, so you gotta have to put that in retrospect. You know, for Retroville. Okay, next honorable mention, we have Dopey Dopeweller, who is, I guess, supposed to be the alien version of Carl. I have no idea, but Carl is already not an attractive guy, and just making Carl a green alien, oh gosh, he's just not easy to look at, but he's not too bad, I guess. Anyway, down to the number one, and the number one ugliest cartoon ever, in my opinion, is no other than Ren. Yeah, you know Ren, that psychotic chihuahua that gave you plenty nightmares. While the show was already disturbing to watch, I felt Ren alone offered some pretty unforgettable imagery. The kind of imagery of replacing body parts and just destroying your ligaments and just giving you just that psychotic, disturbing kind of imagery I don't even know how to describe, because that was just Ren and Stimpy. It always gave you that type of imagery, and Ren was I can't watch a full episode of this show. Like, at least the other entries on the list I can actually watch. I can't watch a full episode of Ren and Stimpy without either gagging or just running in fear. But with that being said, guys, this is my list for the top 5 ugliest Nicktoons. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. But if you like this video, then hopefully you'll do that anyway. So with that being said, I'm your boy Corey Zae, and I'll see you next time. Peace.